Sure. Thank you, Claire. And thanks everyone for joining. And here is the part 3 of Deep Dive series on Portal. So today we are going to see the Portal customization. It's mainly about how to write a code to customize the portal. As in the last two series, we have seen the basics of portal and we have seen the configuration, how to configure a basic website without writing even a single line of code. Today, we are going little deep to see how to get started with the coding part or the customization for portal. So here we go. Again, about me who don't know, who I joined newly. So I am having a 6+ years of experience in business applications, and I am a techno-functional consultant working with Redspire Glasgow. My past experiences are with Accenture India, Microsoft India, and Business and Decisions in Belgium. And here is my LinkedIn. That's all, and I'll just get started with the agenda. So for today, we are gonna see the programming capabilities in Power Apps portal. And mainly the language that we are gonna practice today, or just see the practical of it as a liquid and how to build solid liquid skills, establishing good practices for that, view of the future, demo, and Q&A in the end. So let's get started. And here's the feedback link. So it's definitely gonna help me in improving myself further. So please give me the feedback. And here is what is the liquid. So basically today we are going to focus mainly on the liquid part, because in the portal the main focus for the language is the liquid, which helps us in customizing the portal. So what's the liquid? Liquid is basically a server-side templating language, not just a server-side language, but it's a templating language. We will see why it's different from other server-side languages. And it basically allows for a normal developer to write a concepts like if, for, and whatnot to create HTML, JS, CSS that the portal user sees on the UI of the portal. Liquid is again, as I said, a server-side templating language, which means end user will never ever see the code. Rather, he will just see the output generated by the code. For example, when we write a JS on the client side, we can do F12 and see what the code is behind, what we are applying to the code. But here in Liquid, since it's a server side, user will not be able to see the code, but we can just see the output generated by the code. Just a little definition on the high level. And next one, a little history around it. So Liquid is an open source templating language originally developed by Shopify, and this company has created their own portal to allow customer to customize their look and feel. And apart from that, yes, this language has been leveraged in lot many ways, and one of the example is Adobe Business Catalyst and first Power Apps portal. For that, the Liquid was supported in version 7.0.7, and ever since the features are always increasing. So that's little about the past of the Liquid, where it started, where it developed. And so we also can see on the Shopify website the Liquid reference if you really would like to learn from the basics, from just the ABCD if you want to get started. But apart from that, we have a nice documentation on MS Docs. So just give you a little go through on that. So let me just go here and show you where are these documents. So if you would like to know from the basics, we have the Liquid template language. If you go to the shopify.dev/docs/theme/liquid reference, we will be seeing all the basics of the Liquid, but definitely we have a good documentation specific to the Power Apps portal on the MS Docs. Since from the starting till end, everything is there. So yes, definitely we can get started from there as well. Now, so we know that Liquid is a language. Basically, in Portal, the mainly language that we focus is Liquid. Definitely, we need to know HTML, CSS, and JS also a bit, but the Liquid is the main thing which reads the data and show on the Portal website. So where to exactly write the Liquid? As in the last session, we have seen the configuration of web pages, entity form, entity list, web forms, etc. There all we can write Liquid code. So basically a couple of places, if I mention clearly, is on the web page. There's a copy or the summary section where we can write the Liquid code. Second option is on the entity list, entity form, web pages, web form. In the section called JavaScript or CSS, we can write a Liquid code. In content snippets that we have seen in the last session, basically, to replace the static content or something like this, we can use the Liquid here as well and in the web template. So mainly 90% of the cases we use the web template. to write a liquid. So today we are going to practice all liquid syntaxes, codes, and just get started using the web template. But yeah, all other places liquid is applied, and liquid can be mixed with HTML, CSS, and JS as well by just using the proper tags of the language. So let's go next. As in the other languages, we have data types. Liquid also has some data types. Assign versus capture. So there is one data type called assign. It's a little different than other languages. The assign keyword is basically like in other languages, we write a var a equal to 3. What we do exactly is declaring a variable and defining a value for that variable. So here assign does the same work for us. If we write assign a equal to 3, we are declaring a variable called a and we are going to give value as 3. But the basic difference here is in other languages, if we define a variable, we no need to define again and again if we want to update the value of the same variable. Here we will be using the same keyword again and again. So what is the actual difference between assign and all these specific data types is assign basically whatever kind of value we assign to a variable using assign keyword, it assumes that this is a string. If you assign like a number, it assumes that it is a number variable. But if you assign a specific type, definitely it's gonna be for a specific type. So the majorly used data type is assign in the liquid language. Capture is not that much used, but we'll see the use of this as well. And then we have normal all data types. Then we have null for comparison if the value is null or not. And the one more keyword or one more data type as in HTML, we use the BR sign to break a line. If we are writing a lot of text, we will just want to break the line. So this syntax can be used in the liquid tags. So these are the basic data types. And then we have, just to basically write some conditional flows, iteration tags, and so we have a couple of liquid tags available for that as well. So control flow tags, as we know, if, else, unless, else if. We'll be seeing the demo using most of these supported tags for the liquid. Iteration tags are nothing but the for loop, table row. They have a couple of parameters. Based on that, a for loop can have some conditions applied, for example, limit. So for loop need to be done just for 3 times, whatever the top records are coming, and similarly offset just after the 3 records or after the 3 basically length, it will pick up from the array. And then the template tags for the fetch XML to define the fetch XML. Include is basically to include another web template in one web template. Extend is basically most of the use of the extend is similar to include, but the difference is extend needs to be the first tag in the web template. Include can come anywhere in the web template. We'll be seeing that also in a practical. Comment is just to write the comment. Raw, I have never used that. And then we have portal specific tags or the CDS entity tags to basically, fetch the data from the entities of CDS. We will use entities. User is a special tag in Power Apps Portal Liquid because this is just to give the information around the portal user basically from which you have logged in. So we generally use this particular keyword to fetch details around the user ID, name, and other fields or the column of this particular entity. And user is also can be used like to check whether the portal is logged in with user or not. Chart is to insert the chart. Editable, if you would like to insert some kind of text which is editable on the portal itself, we can use this keyword. Search index is for the indexing purpose. So these are the basic supported tags, and we have lot many as well, but we'll be seeing in demonstration first these ones, and then we'll go more into the deep. Then liquid first view. So how does it look? Just to have a first look of it, as we have seen if tag, else, and end if. So what these 5 lines of code means is how to identify whether the code is liquid or not, first of all, because liquid generally will be mixed with HTML, CSS, or JS, as I said, to basically for styling purpose and to have some kind of headings and things, you will be using HTML and CSS in between. So liquid has a special characters. If you see that it starts with the curly braces and then percentage, whatever you would like to write in between the supported tags and some things, and then you write percentage and the curly braces again. That's how the liquid's identity is. In any other language, we won't see this kind of syntax. So it's very, very, very easy language. It's not that tough. It just we need to get familiar with the basics of it. That's all. So what does this lines of code means as if user? It means that user is a liquid supported tag which tells that user is logged in. Then please print hello user.fullname in uppercase. Why do we write these two curly braces? So basically in Liquid, we don't have debug functionality. That's the worst part of it. We can't debug if there are too many lines of code. We need to print everything and see whether your output is coming correctly or not. So to print anything, we use symbol double curly braces start and double curly braces and in between you can print the variable the way we do, like in C# console.writeLine, or in JS we do, alert or something like to see whether the output is coming correct or not. So this is the basic syntax that we are gonna start with. So if user is logged in, please print the user.fullname in the uppercase. Else just print the hello world and end if. So whatever tag we are going to start, we need to end that tag except the printing tag. Otherwise we need to end that tag always. So we'll be seeing that example soon. So Liquid view in web template. So we are going to write Liquid in web template. How does it look? So as we have seen in the last session, web template record is just like this with 4 fields: name, website, source, and MIME type. So name is the just name of the web template. Website is your portal website. Source will contain all your Liquid code, HTML, CSS, or your JS. JS will come within the script tags, and HTML is the normal tags, and Liquid with the percentage and the curly braces tags. The good thing here, if you write Liquid here, because we don't have, I don't know whether we have any supported kind of extension in Visual Studio to see the IntelliSense for the Liquid. I don't know that, but if I write Liquid here, we get the IntelliSense for the Liquid here. So that's the good part of it. And we have a MIME type down this one field. If we don't give anything, it means that your website is gonna render everything in the like a HTML page. And generally in the cases we use HTML, but if you have any specific MIME type to be declared, you can do that using like example as XML, JSON, etc. So this is the basic of Liquid. It's very simple language, server side, and it has very simple data types, and we can fetch whatever we want from Dynamics and show on the portal. So basically to customize a portal in a way that we cannot do using out of the box configuration, we use the coding part, and we use the web templates, custom web templates basically. So let's get started like, a college class. So we are going to see how to print a hello world on the portal screen, and then we'll jump a little deep into each tags of it. So let me just get started with the portal. So I'm going to go to the makes.powerapps.com, and again, I'm on the apps here. I'm going to go to the portal management application here. So basically, I have created a web page template, and web template already, but I'll show you how the linking is done. So for the portal, basically in the primary navigation, as we have seen in the last class, I have added one more link called Learn Liquid. So if you see in the links here, I have a web link called Learn Liquid, and this does not have any page to show, rather it has multiple options. So basically multiple options are hello world and basic data types. So basically we are going to see on that page, and other deep all the Liquid tags. And for that I'm using a web pages here. So if I show you the web page that I've created is for hello world web page, and it's very simple. I didn't do anything, just the name and the mandatory fields, no other configuration I did. And I have a page template. It's again the intermediate entity as we have seen, which connects web page to the web template. So basically on that web page, this code is gonna be rendered. So output of the code is going to be rendered. If we go to the web template here, we will be seeing lines of code, but don't worry about that. We'll be seeing line by line what this means as. So basically, as we have seen in other languages, we know // is for commenting the code, but here again, everything starts with curly braces. So to comment out your code, we need to use a comment syntax like this, and end comment as well. So you see, if I remove this, my code will not be commented. So here, what I'm doing is first line is extends. layout one column. What does it mean is I have another web template which comes out of the box called layout one column. It has some styling and things. So I didn't actually want to write a styling part of it, rather to understand the main liquid data types and things. So I have just extended this particular web template. So if we have a look on this web template, it has some breadcrumbs. It means some linking to the other web pages we'll be seeing soon, and then it just extending this particular web template code here. So no need to write same code again. If you already have in another web template, you can use extend keyword or a data type and then just write a template name. So for example, if I show you the web template, and it's a layout one column. So this is the out of the box basically web template, which has a basic styling, which means it's gonna show some heading, breadcrumbs. You'll be seeing what breadcrumbs are. Include breadcrumbs. It means it is including another web template here. So it is including multiple web templates just for the styling and designing purpose. So if we see this particular web template, it has some again the design, and then it just including another web template and so many includes. So what's the difference in the include syntax and in the extend is include can be used anywhere within your code, right? To include any web template, but extend is the keyword. If you don't use as a first line here, it's not gonna work. It says that extend should be a first tag. Why? Basically, when you have headings and things to be styled, it should definitely be rendered first and then your whole logic. So this is for headings and things, and that's the reason we are using the extend keyword. Let's say we are rendering this code also here. So we will be seeing some styling there, and without this also I'll show you how it looks, and with extension how it looks. So let me just remove this line, and then I don't have anything to be done on this page, and let's see what this code is doing and how my web page is looking. So I will go to the portal. It's the same portal that we have done last time. So I have logged in with the admin credential just now, and I have given this web link set in the primary navigation web link set. I have added this web link and the child web links. So if I go to this one, hello world, and this one is just blank. I don't see anything. And now if I would like to print anything here, it's just gonna come right from here because there is no styling or nothing is given. And if I just go here, let me just close this and the same web template, and I just do Control Z and just save it and see what's the difference in the styling. And that's just all out of the box. I'm not doing anything. I'm just including that web template in my web template. So let me just clear the cache and go to the same page again. So extending that web template is just helping, just giving some breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs mean which is your parent page, then your child page. So my parent page is home, and then my child page is this, and this is just showing the name of the page, and that's all. And then we'll be seeing how to write basic code after this. So basically, it's a good practice to start your code or your logic in the block. Basically, it's kind of a class in C#. So you have block main and end block. That's the first thing. It's not going to do anything. It's just a good practice to start with block. And let me just uncomment few lines and see what is that. So basically, let's understand just these few lines of code. As we have already seen, this is just the HTML text to show you as a heading. And then we have if user. So we are checking whether user is logged in. Please show the username in the uppercase. Else, please show me the hello world. So let's just save it and see the output, how it looks when the user is logged in and when not logged in. So if I go here, clear the cache, and again, if I go to the hello world page, so since user is logged in, it goes in the if condition and shows me this is the HTML heading that I have given, and then hello Meena Gupta in the capital, my name of the logged in user. Let's just log out and see what comes there. So it just shows the hello world because it's the else condition. So basically whenever we write liquid, it's a best practice to always print and see whether a logic is working correctly and then go further, because we don't have debug thing here that you just put the breakpoint and it show you where the error is. No, it's very tough to identify when you have lots of lines of code to identify the error. So write even a single line of code and try printing and see whether a logic is working or not. So this is what just the basic one, if else, and this is how it works in liquid. Let's uncomment few more lines of code and go ahead with some data types and see how does it work. So let me just uncomment. So here the next few lines, if we see this one, it just unless is just like opposite of if, or either if we have multiple condition to write if this is not this, write basically print something and else, but rather you have just one condition where you say something is not equal to this, please print this or do this. So unless user dot full name contains hey, definitely my name does not contain hey, so it's gonna come here and just print something like that, right? And if I say Mini, it's not gonna print anything because my name contains Meena there. So let's just save it and see how the unless works. So it's again just the percentage, curly braces, and just the contains keyword. And we are accessing user.fullname and just checking that. And let's say we have not tested this and we are starting our code with this. It's again a best practice to print first this and check whether anything is coming or not, and then check the value of it, and then definitely whatever in HTML we would like to write. So let's go ahead and just clear the cache and see the changes. Okay, since I'm not logged in, I'm not able to clear the cache. So let me just log in first. Yeah, so it says you are not part of the clan, and that's all because my name does not contain hey. So just the unless condition, how does it work? We have seen that. So let's put some break lines because definitely we are seeing everything one after the other. So this is about if else we have seen and the unless keyword. This is how the basic flow tags works here. And let's uncomment some more things and see how does they work. So let me just put the comment here. So if you even have multiple lines of code, just uncommenting line by line and just printing and seeing, whether your lines of code is working or not. This is again, let's see, it's again the HTML tag just to, just in bold, show the types, nothing else. Then the line of break, and then we have assign keyword. So assign, as I've said that foo is a variable. We are assigning it in the double quotes. It means we are assigning a kind of a string to it, right? And then we are printing it. Now, if I want to reassign some value to it, I need to again write assign. It's not like other languages, you write just foo and assign something else. It's not gonna work. So we need to write assign to declare and define a variable to reassign a value or update a value again. So again, I'm just updating the value and printing it, and then I'm reassigning again a value and saying append me. So if you have some variable which is giving you some value, and if you would like to append a static text, we can do in this way. And again, just printing that. That's all. So HTML tag, liquid, 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 HTML, liquid. So you see a combination of HTML and liquid. So definitely, if we know the basic of HTML, it's gonna be very easy to learn liquid. Otherwise, just type the liquid and see things, and then basically write the HTML part of it. So I'm just gonna save it. I have uncommented these lines and see what's the change that is gonna come now. Yep, so it's just about types as we have seen. Assign, initially assigned a variable called foo as bar, and then we updated a value called this, and then again same value but we appended me, and then that's how it's just displaying here. Again about the assign, and this is the most commonly used variable or a data type, because when you are, let's say you are defining a for loop or something, we need to define a variable, you will say assign. So this is again a very commonly used one, and it just works as the same way. It just for reassigning and updating, we need to write this keyword again. So to identify HTML liquid, again, you see HTML tags are completely different than the liquid one. Start with the curly braces and the percentage sign. So till now we covered the basic one, if else, unless is the opposite of if. And you have noticed that if we start the if, we are ending the if. If we start the unless, we are ending the unless. And as I said about, the IntelliSense, so let's say I remove this and I just press one this, it just comes like this, and I say end unless. So it gives me the IntelliSense, So when you write liquid here itself, it gives you IntelliSense. So let's move ahead with some different types of variable as we have seen. And first one is, let's say, a capture also we have seen along with the assign. So basically assign is the normal variable. Capture is not being used that much, but still how it's used as, you need to write a capture syntax, and then this is your custom one, whatever you would like to write, my variable. And if you have a lot of string, kind of in between, we can just do it like that, and we have my variable, and to break a line we are just using this, so it's just gonna be displayed as s. That's all. Because generally for capturing like assign, we will not have this much of a string or any paragraphs. If we have some paragraphs to be displayed somewhere, it's better to use capture, because this syntax is basically meant for that. So we'll be seeing output of this again. Let's save it and see. It's just displaying the capture variable. Just the capture variable. If you have long paragraph or something to be displayed, let's say I have here in my home page, and you have some customized page where you have lots of this, you can just use the capture variable in a web template to show that. So for that purpose, capture variable is there. And let's see some different kind of variable. Let's see string, and then we'll be seeing number after that. So again, it's a HTML1. I'm just gonna type the string, and I'm assigning a normal variable with just, hello world, right? Without double quotes, and then string v is in the single quotes. Both are gonna behave same way, so there is no difference. Just to show you, you can have double quotes, without quotes, and a single quotes, and if we print them, it's just gonna become as is. And after this, we have defined numbers as well. Let's see these two together. So number, again, we have HTML tag. We are assigning a value or a variable with 3.14, a value of pi. And there we are going to print pi value, and in the floor, and then in the integer, and then in the decimal, and then we are rounding it to 3. So it's going to show 142. So let's see how the number and the string variables are shown here in the portal. So this is just around the different data types, how we can use them. So string is just a string, and we have single quotes works too. So we are just printing this, and numbers we had 3 point, like the value of pi in decimals, but when we are displaying as a floor, as an integer, and as a decimal, and if we are just rounding it to 3, so it's just gonna display this. This is how we can control the numbering part of it. If we are gonna show some different calculations on the portal, we are gonna use this variable here, this data type basically. And if we go here, it's again a type of date. So date is basically, we have one keyword, or I would say data type. Liquid supported data type is page basically. So basically it's gonna use the modified on from the page. And we have date. We are just defining this, and then we are gonna display now. And then we have date in terms of DD, Y. So what we have done, a HTML tag here, and then we are just displaying a variable. You see, we are not assigning anything just now. You see double curly braces starts and ends. What we are doing is just using page is the keyword, which basically gonna fetch the value of modified on, And then we have now. How we are going to print that now? Now it's just a like today's date in this particular format. And let's see how it's going to be shown. So it's again just displaying the variables here. That's all. Yeah. So we have this. September 21. It's showing. I'm just thinking. Monday, September 21, 2020, 11:20 a.m. Okay, and September 30 is now page dot modified on. So this is modified on. Okay, got it. So basically this is a page. A page is basically for a web page which we are displaying. So the page in the basically in the portal management tab I have modified on Monday, which is 21st of September. That's why it's displaying, and then its whole date, and then it's showing the date basically as today as we are accessing now. So access the current date, or basically now date is the symbol, and we can get the formatting in which we want. This is how date part can be accessed as a in the data types. And then let's just jump to the array, how we can declare the array and the dictionary. So array, again, as the other languages work, so we are assigning. So what we are using, basically a keyword is assign all the time, and we have speakers. Let's say we have a couple of speakers here, and we are splitting them by comma, and we are looping through them. So let's see, we have assign, and we are assigning with 5 people here, and we have a comma to basically split them, and then we have for loop basically in this particular whole array, and we are going to display all the speakers. So all these speakers should be displayed in the next lines, as we are giving BR as well here. And then dictionary, how to display a dictionary as if request.params is basically about the URL of request.params, the parameters in the request that we have. If the size is greater than 0, we are going to show the request has these many params, and that's all. So we'll be seeing what it's going to display, and then the array as well. And then we'll jump to the other syntaxes and a little deep tags of the liquids. Okay. So if we come here, array, as we have seen, we just declared a variable using the assign keyword. We just gave multiple speakers name there, like with the comma syntax. We are splitting them by comma using the for loop to loop in through all the elements of array, and then we are just displaying them. Easy as in the other languages. Dictionary, if you see 93 params. So request has 93 params, maybe the count of something. I'm really not too sure, but this is, I think, about request.params is, I think, the request that we are making, but I'm not too sure whether from where the size is coming. So maybe if anyone gonna use this and have doubts, I can definitely clarify it later, but I'm not able to recognize why I'm using this request here. But yes, that's what it is. So this is how the basic data types that we have seen here, how to use, and just we need to use assign symbol, assign a correct data type, display them. You can reassign a value. String we have seen in single quotes, double quotes. Number we have seen, if you have even a decimal number, you can convert it to normal integer and you can round it to. Then we have seen the date part. How can we use the current date and the liquid? We have seen the array, and we have also seen the dictionary. So let's jump to the some more liquid tags and how it works. So where I was in the demo. So again, some other liquid operators, if I talk about, so we have equals to, not equals to, greater than, less than, etc. We have and or. So if you write multiple conditions in if case, let's say if this variable equals to this and, we need to write this particular sentence. We don't have binary operators there. So we need to write this particular and or to basically compare two conditions. Contains, if your particular string contains something, starts with, it's exactly same as begins with, and ends with. Size is same as the count that we have in C#, and empty string array object boolean 0. It's just the basic again operators for the boolean. We can use that unless we have already seen the example of it. The next one again, so there are lots of other liquid supported tags for collections. There are batches and concat, except, first, etc. A lot of things. We will be practicing few of them. We have some other supported tags for date. So you can add minutes to the date, but definitely it's completely different from other languages. And in the JS, you can say date dot add days, a method, and you just put the number, and it particularly adds those particular days into the your variable. But it doesn't work like that, so we need to use all these syntaxes to add minutes, months, seconds, year, days, and hours. In maths, similarly, you have a counter and you would like to make it all the time increase. When the for loop is running, you need to, if you would like to plus, minus, divided by, and into, or the multiplication, you need to use these all keywords. Here the plus symbol, minus, into, or division is not gonna work, so we need to use this. And if you would like to have a ceil or the value, the floor value, we need to use this symbol. You would like to have modulus, absolute value, rounding off, integer, or the decimal, as we have seen a couple of them just now. We need to use all these keywords here. So this is something different for our Power Apps portal, and I have used it very frequently because let's say you have some logic just based on the URL. So you have a URL and you say my URL contains this, show this. If my URL contains this, please show something else. So basically, to modify a web page according to URL, you have multiple things to query. So if you query the path, it will show you whole path of your page or the URL. And then similarly, you can have multiple things within that, and these are very useful. Booleans is the same as true, false, enable, disabled, yes, no. Others are default has role. This has role is about to check whether my logged in user has particular role, then only show particular content, or else doesn't show. So this is a syntax to basically see whether your logged in user has particular role or not. So again, a different demo. We have seen a couple of data types. Now we'll see more of kind of, how to write a for loop, fetch conditions, how to show in a table or something like that. So let's just jump to the demo again and see how does that work. So for that, again, I have another web template where I have few lines of code, and we'll be seeing one by one. If any doubts, please just feel free to ask. So I'm just gonna show you which web template that I have written the code in. So I have a web template called Liquid Text Web Template, and it is connected to the web page, and which is being shown on this particular link. Okay, so let's see again. So it's extending the same for the basically for designing and styling purpose. And again, we are starting with the block main, yes, and we are ending as well. So if we come down, we are ending as well, right? This block. Let's go a little up and see what kind of flow like other tags are there and how we can use them. So I started with block main, and these lines of code, let's try to understand the case syntax of Liquid. How does it work? It's basically similar to switch that we have in C#, right? So basically having a multiple case, and based on the particular condition, go into the particular case and show or do whatever we want. So let's say I have a HTML tag here, and I am assigning a variable with value 3, and I say my case should run for this value, whatever the value can be. Right now I'm giving us 3. When value is 1, print this. We can, if we have static text, we can print even without using the curly braces, because we don't need. For the curly braces, we would like to print particular value of the variable. We are definitely gonna use a double curly braces. For example, if I write here double curly braces and I say that I would also like to print user dot full name, right? And let's say here we would like to also print user record ID. So we can just print like that. And if this is number 3, we don't want to print anything, just this is number 3. So definitely as the value is 3, it's gonna be coming to this particular case. So let's just test it with value 1, 2, 3 and see how the case syntax works here. So you can write cases if you have so many options, and then going to the conditions there. So case is again similar to the switch, and it works very simple way. So here, if I just go to the main home page, if I go to the liquid text, I have commented everything else, and I just have a control flow tag there, which is case, and it says this is number 1, Meena Gupta. So as you saw that, just to print some static text, I have written like this. So my suggestion here is, if your portal is having multiple languages, is enabled for multiple languages, these static texts are of no use, because for the another language also it's gonna show as in the English, right? So for this, here the content snippet comes into the picture. So create a content snippet, give the name, a key and value pair. So your key will be something whatever you would like to, and a value will be for English language you're gonna use this. For other language you're gonna definitely give the different content and use the content snippet here. So whenever the value is gonna render, depending on the portal's language, it's gonna convert to that particular language. But for the variable printing, definitely no need, because when your portal supports different language or Dynamics 2, so definitely the value is gonna be rendered in the correct language. So this is how it works, and just let's see for one more case and how it works. So we are gonna see for 3, and it's just gonna say that this is number 3. So this is again very useful. Let's say you have a user which has multiple roles, and you would like to do something for different roles. So you can just have cases and just write your logic in the cases. So this is just number 3. Let's go ahead and see what the iteration flow is. We have seen the control flow now, and let's just see. Iteration is again going to the for loop and showing something, as we have already seen as part of array, just same, but just we call it as iteration. It's the same as speakers. We have this splitting by this, and then we are going to show full list here, right? And just going to the speakers for speaker and speakers, and just displaying the speakers. So it's just gonna display all these as we have seen in the array. So let's take one more example and show them together. So if I come down, so now what's the difference between these 3 things? If I, just a moment, sorry. Yep. You see, in the first for loop, I'm just displaying all the speakers. As we have seen, there are parameters which we can give in the for loop to basically, restrict the value that are being shown or gonna be used within the for loop logic. So let's say we are displaying full list, because as we are going into the array basically and displaying everything. Here we have speaker and speakers, and we are giving parameter limit as 3. What it's gonna display? Just the first 3 names. Speaker and speaker, it's offset 3. It means it's just gonna display, just after the 3 names, it's just gonna display these 2. So this is how we can apply a couple of parameters which are supported in the for loop and display in a different way. So let's say you would like to display this particular, you have speaker name you would like to display when the username matches with that. You can have cases and have loops between the array, and then you can just show whatever you would like. So let's save and see how these different like params behaves in liquid. So if I go there, liquid text, yeah. So if we see that full list, definitely same as the array 1. First 3 is first 3. Offset 3 is offset 3 after the 3. So this is how we can control our loopings, and we can have multiple logics based on the given params, whatever the requirement we have based on that. And let's see something different now. So if I go here and if I show you how the reverse thing and the cycle thing works here. So what I'm gonna do is, if you see that speaker and speakers, I'm just using keyword called reverse. What does that mean? All the values in the for loop basically in the array is gonna be reversed and then will be shown. Now what is the cycle here? So basically it's just a CSS class that I'm using just to for look and feel. So basically I'm using a CSS class called button, Where I'm using a cycle keyword, what does a cycle means? How many classes or the design part that you're giving, it's gonna cycle again and again in the number of given parameters or in the for loop in the length. And I'm gonna display speakers. So what is gonna happen? First of all the speakers are gonna be displayed in the reverse, right? So Ross, Mark, blah, blah, blah. And then in each speaker, it's gonna be displayed in class called button, and it's gonna be displayed at default, primary, and the success, like some colors, green, and something like that. And then we are gonna show here something else, for loop object. What does is if you loop into the array, what happens here is if you print this and you say for loop dot first, if it's the first element of the loop, please show this also along with that, or I'll just show, till the time the last is not coming. Basically last is equal to false, just show all the attributes. So basically first and last can also be accessed in this way in the for loop. So this is just the part of for loop, not very much used, but yeah, just we can do something like this. So this is just to show you how the reverse thing works and the cycle, and how you can use the first and the last element of the for loop. If you have the length, let's say greater than 100, and you would like to access first and the last element, you can definitely do that in this way. So again, let's just clear the cache and see. Yes, let's go to the liquid tags. So you see reversed and cycle, basically all the values of this is reversed in the reverse order, and cycle is just to give the class, and we are showing all the text as buttons, and we are given some classes like normal and I think something, and then the success, so it's showing in this reverse. And if we had more parameters here or more values here, it will be just shown white, blue, green, something like that. We have seen how to access the particular object of the for loop. We can access the first one, and then I added this value here, and then normally all the speakers are shown. Just the basic, changes in the for loop, how we can use in different ways are these ways that we can do for the styling things and the logic. So let's go ahead and see another keyword, which is table row, that we have seen. So, and after this, we'll be seeing the fetch XML and how to display entity list, entity form using the code. So you want to design your page where you would like to also show all the render entity form out of the box, and you would also like some design and some things via the code. We can definitely do that. So let's see the table row keyword. Table row keyword is more or less similar to the for. As you see, it just loops in, speaker and just show. But how it shows, let's see that. So I'm here, and then let me just clear the cache. Then liquid tags. Right. So yes, the one thing is table row, the syntax that is given on MS Docs, I tried, the syntax seems correct, but it doesn't work. But it works in the similar way as for loop, but somehow it doesn't work. So if anyone like come across this one, please let me know. I tried this couple of times, but the functionality is same as for loop, but somehow it wasn't working for me. So any help will be appreciated on this one. But yeah, it's nothing different than the for loop, but yeah, just to use the table row if you would like. Just try if it starts working in the next version, something like this, but it's not working right now. So let's see some template tags here. So let's start with the fetch XML, the most important part when we write a main logic here. So how does it work? Let me just comment some code, and then we'll be seeing that, right? So first of all, how to generate this fetch XML, right? So I'm using this particular fetch XML to fetch the cycle records. So what you do whenever we would like to fetch records, go to your advanced find, and whatever view or particular download the fetch. Till the time it's loading, let's say. So basically what I've written is fetch XML is a sentence that we have seen. We started the fetch XML, we need to end the fetch XML. Okay, so the syntax are very important. If we miss even a percentage, it's just gonna throw the error, right? So if you see fetch XML, I have given a variable like cycle query, and I'm querying my cycle and just the entity name and all these attributes. A normal fetch XML, ordering them by name, and filter condition I have given. The cycle type should be this, maybe something for male or female, I have given that. And then we have what we are going, now we have fetched all the cycles based on this condition. Now how to loop through them and how to print or how to do what exactly we want to go through these records and do. Right, so let me see if my advanced find is up, not yet. So let's go down and see. So I'm basically assigning a variable again. What I'm doing is I'm using the cycle query here, dot results dot entity. So I'm basically gonna see that, basically this particular is the fetched records are there or not. Basically the size is 0 or the length is 0 or the greater than 0. This is my first condition, and then only I'll perform my action. So I have given if condition here, which is checking whether using this fetch XML, I am able to retrieve any record or not, or basically records are present based on this condition or not. So I'm using this condition here if, and definitely I'll be ending if, right? Now see what's there in between. It just to form a table, I used basic HTML syntax here. I have used the table, just the basic one, head. So basically on the table, I'm gonna show the heading like cycle type, model, color, and price. And within all these headings, I am definitely gonna show some values retrieved from this using the fetch XML, right? So first one, cycle type. So I have a for loop here in the results of the cycle that we have stored here just now, and if the size is greater than 0, I'm just looping in, and for each record it's just gonna show cycle type. Since it's an option set, if we want to show the label or the integer value, we need to use label or the value here. Then we are gonna show here the model. So basically it's in the name field, and then we have the color, again the option set. So I'm showing the label and the price here. So it's the price. So you say this is a static text, again can be used the content snippet here definitely if your portal is in the multiple languages, and then show these values basically in the table. So you might come across lots of scenarios or in the project where you need to show the grid, not the out of the box entity list just, but you have a page where you have multiple things along with the grid. So either you can do fetch XML like this, just modify some values here and show on the grid. We can do that, and that's what we are showing here. So let's see how this fetch XML works. Before that, I wanted to show how to basically retrieve the fetch XML. Still it's loading. So I just go to my entity, and we can use any views if we want, or you can say results. So we have, let's say 8 results for male type of cycle, and we can say export cycles here, and then, oh, I'm so sorry, this is for the data. And if I go here again and we say download fetch XML. So if you open this fetch XML, and we can just copy paste as in our web template, just removing these signs, or just open it in Notepad++, it will give you the correct fetch XML. No need to modify double quotes, single quotes as we do for C# or JS. It just can be used as is. So mention a query in the advanced find, get the fetch XML, no need to do anything, just copy paste, query through it. If the length is 0, in however way you would like to show them, we can show the records, or we can modify and then show the records on the UI, right? We can have some styling also to show in a nicer way, but I'm not using any styling here, just showing all the values in the table. Right, so let me just clear the caches I did again, and then let me just go to the record tags. Right, so you see that I can show the grid, by just accessing or fetching the records from the CDS entity, and I can show them here, right? So this is how it works, and I was actually the condition was cycle type is hybrid bikes, and this is how I'm showing my grid. Multiple things on the page, so we can design however we want. So I'll just go a little quickly. So this is about include syntax, as we have already seen. So what I'm doing, I have another web template called fetch XML customer purchase history, and then I'm including that particular web template code here and again using the same table syntax and using the values directly. I'm not having any fetch XML here. So this particular web template has a fetch XML. No need to write in the same one. If you see that, code is using too much, like too many lines of code, just separate it in multiple web templates and use it here. But that particular web template is having a dynamic parameter called customer ID. So I'm passing that from here. We'll be seeing that web template too, and again forming the same table and passing the values directly. And again, include with joins. If you have multiple tables linked entities, we can definitely do that as well. So I am including that web template which has multiple like fetch XML, and I have a link entity as well. So here we can use or access values from the linked entities fields as well. This is what I'm doing. How to do that? Basically, this is my main entity, and I have a linked entity where I have given alias as AF, and I'm showing full name. This is how I can use the linked entities attributes in the fetch query. So let me just comment this and show you. So I think I'm just running out of time, won't take much, but yeah, just to show you this part. So let me just show you how that web template is there. So I'm including two web templates. If I show you quickly, fetch XML cycle accessories and fetch XML customer history. So I go to the web templates. Right, so it starts with fetch XML. So I have fetch XML, it just has the fetch XML, nothing else. So to avoid too many lines of code in there, so I just included this web template there. I have some conditions passing the, where is my, yeah, this is the customer accessories one where I have a linked entity, and I'm accessing this particular attribute using that particular syntax, which I have shown just now. And if I go to the purchase history, this is using the dynamic parameter as I will show you here. So purchase query, here we have somewhere a linked entity, this. Oh, nope. So if I go there, fetch XML customer purchase history, I think this is the one. So you see I'm using this particular dynamic variable which I'm passing value from there, just including. So what does include means? Including the code from the another template and then completing the logic here. So we'll be seeing the output together, and just couple more syntax just to show you, this is again to basically, Control Z, Control X, to show you how to include and then pass the variable. We have seen to show basically, the output of this in the form group. So we are gonna see how we can use the form group tag here. And just one more thing important which I would like to show, how to add the entity list and entity form using the code. So the syntax is you need to give the entity list name here. It means the entity list name and entity view, which view we are gonna use. So we are giving the view name here as well. So you see that we are looping through the entity list and view. It's just the similar syntax. I know it's just I'm running out of time. So maybe all these syntax are all given here on the MS Docs and can be practiced. And if any doubts in showing the entity form, entity view, and entity form, definitely reach out to me. Entity form is a very, very simple syntax. Just you need to say entity form and name. That's all, an entity form will be visible. So I'll be just showing the output of these, and the syntax I can definitely mail, or I can email, or if you request, I can email all the web templates which I have shown today. You can practice by uncommenting each line and then see how the output is coming. Considering time, I have to just finish this off. So let's clear the cache and see what all things I have shown here. All the syntaxes which I have used in web template are given on the MS Docs. So if I go to the liquid text, so we have seen the fetch XML, looping through them, showing in the table, and again including another web template using the dynamic parameter, which I am passing user ID and showing the details of it, the purchase history, and then I'm including linked entity and showing the details. So this is what I have shown here, right? So this is how we can query things and we can basically show. So this is about the basic liquid syntaxes that we have seen today. You can definitely practice, and if you would like, just let me know. I'll share the code what I've shown so you can practice with this and then write your own code. And then let's jump to the demo again here. So a couple of notes that I have made as definitely it's a powerful tool, But the only thing is it can just read data. It cannot update the data or delete the data or create the data. So Liquid is just, that's why it's called as templating language. It's just to template something. So it can read data from CDS in a different way and show it with the styling using the CSS and the HTML. So basically, yes, Liquid fits well for the Power Apps portal. As we see, it can do a lot in terms of customization. And one more thing, Liquid does not provide ability to write a function or method which can be called into the multiple places as we see in the C# or the JS. But one ability we have, write it in different templates and include those templates using the include symbol. One more last thing is CRUD operations in Power Apps. As I said, creating, updating, deleting doesn't happen using the Liquid language. So MS has released something called Web API for portals that can be leveraged for all CRUD operations. And that is not available for the general availability now. It's just in the preview mode, and it supports portal with version 9.2.6.58 and above. And all the rich content regarding this, the web API for the portal, is given in this particular link on the docs, MS docs. That's all for today.